Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something huge, the evolving world of the business analyst. I mean, with AI and automation popping up everywhere, you gotta wonder, right? The role is changing so fast. So what does that mean for the modern analyst? Let's dive in. And this is the question, isn't it? It's on every BA's mind. When the machines themselves can learn, what's actually left for us to analyze? It's a great question. Maybe a little scary, but it's really the core of what we're talking about today. And trust me, the answer is a whole lot. Okay, so where do we even begin with this? Well, the first thing we've got to do is kind of reframe how we look at technology. The good news is, it's not about you suddenly having to become a PhD in machine learning. No. It's about seeing the bigger picture, the amazing value that gets created when you start linking all these powerful new digital tools together. And that right there, that's the heart of it. That's the whole ballgame. The number one skill for a BA today is being able to see that giant puzzle. It's about understanding how connecting these different tools can totally flip a business model on its head, create an amazing customer experience, and, ultimately make sure your company is still around tomorrow. Okay, I love this example because it makes everything so real. Let's talk about a call center. You've got all this new tech, right? So path number one, you could use it to create a totally virtual agent that handles everything. Or, path number two, you could use the exact same tech to make your human agents into superheroes, instantly identifying callers, writing them to the perfect person. The key here is that one isn't better than the other. They just achieve different goals. And who's right there in the middle, helping the business figure out which path to take? That's the BA. So, you might be thinking, great, do I have to throw out my entire skill set and start from scratch? The answer is a big, fat no, absolutely not. In fact, those core BA skills you have, they're not just relevant anymore, they are more valuable and more critical than ever before. We just need to point them in a slightly new direction. I mean, just think about it for a second. Understanding business problems, helping teams see what's actually possible with tech, figuring out the real impact of a change, and breaking down crazy complex work into manageable pieces, this is what BAs have always been good at. This is our bread and butter. And it turns out, this foundation is exactly what companies need to get through the sometimes chaotic world of digital transformation. Let's be honest for a second. For a long time, how did we measure success as a BA? By our outputs. We've all been there, right? Building that mountain of specification documents, the 200-page BRD, getting a million sign-offs. Our job was to produce the paperwork. But that world is gone. Today, the focus has completely shifted. It is all about outcomes. It's not about the document. It's about, did customer satisfaction actually improve? Did we actually make things faster or cheaper? Did a real business metric move in the right direction because of what we did? That, my friends, is the new definition of a job well done. And this all boils down to what I think is the most important mantra for any modern analyst. You've probably heard it, but let's really let it sink in. Outcomes over outputs. It sounds so simple, right? But it changes absolutely everything about how you approach your work. It's not just about building a thing, it's about building the right thing that actually delivers measurable value. Okay, so focusing on outcomes like this, it takes more than just learning a new technique. It really requires a pretty fundamental shift in our mindset. So what does that actually look like day to day? If you really want to knock it out of the park, there are 3 areas where you have to double down, or maybe even triple down. Number 1, an extreme focus on the customer. I'm talking about being obsessed with their journey. Number 2, you've got to be the person who sparks real collaboration. We're talking actual conversations, not just emailing documents back and forth. And number 3, you have to be relentless about tracking those outcomes so you can actually prove you're making a difference. And look, this new mindset brings some new tools to the table. For instance, when you're dealing with a ton of unknowns, and let's face it, that's most digital projects, you can't just sit down and write a giant spec document. It's impossible. Instead, you act like a scientist. You form a hypothesis, and then you design a small experiment to test it. It's the absolute best way to cut through all the ambiguity and learn super fast. Next up, another big one. Customer journey mapping. Honestly, in today's world, this is just not optional anymore. It is a non-negotiable. Why? Because it's the one technique that forces the entire team, from developers to executives, to step out of their own shoes and see the entire project through the only eyes that truly matter, the customers. And the third technique is what we call defining increments. This is really an art form. It's the skill of looking at a huge, ambitious idea and carving off the tiniest possible slice of work that will still let you learn something valuable. It's all about building in those super quick feedback loops, so you know almost immediately if you're actually making progress on the outcomes you care about. All right, so that's the theory. But what does this stuff actually look like in practice? Let's take a tool that every BA knows and loves, or maybe just knows, process modeling. And let's see how it's getting a major makeover for the digital world. So, in the old days, what did we map? We mapped internal system flows, right? How data moves from system A to system B. Now, we take that exact same skill, but we flip it. We start from the outside in. Step 1 is mapping the customer's journey. What are they trying to do? Then you look at that map and you pinpoint their frustrations, their pain points. And only after you've done that can you have an intelligent conversation about where some cool new tech could actually genuinely make their life better. And that's really the secret sauce right there. The tool itself, process modeling, isn't new, but the lens we're looking through is completely different. Your success, your impact, it all comes down to the perspective you take. And today, that perspective absolutely has to be the customer's. So let's start to pull all these threads together. The business analyst of the future, they look a lot less like a requirements writer and a lot more like a strategic facilitator, someone whose work is just naturally tied to the core ideas of Agile. When you look at it, successful digital projects and the whole Agile spirit, they basically run on the same two engines. First, that extreme, almost obsessive focus on the customer we've been talking so much about. And second, what you might call a learning mindset. It's that humility to just admit, hey, we don't have all the answers right now, so we're going to learn our way forward in small steps. So if you're going to remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. The job is no longer documenter. The job is strategic facilitator. You're not just capturing what people say they want. You're guiding the conversation towards what will actually create value. And that's what it all comes down to, really. The biggest challenge ahead of us isn't learning how to use a new piece of software. It's not learning a new diagramming technique. The real challenge is internal. It's about changing how we think, how we act, and how we define success. So I'll leave you with this one question. Are you ready?